Long ago, in the village of Zuberi, there lived a woman named Mansi. She had once been a simple farmer's wife, living a life of struggle and hardship. Her husband had died young, leaving her alone with their only son, a frail boy named Chidi. Chidi was Mansi's greatest treasure, but one fateful season, he fell gravely ill. With no money to take him to the city for treatment, Mansi could only watch helplessly as her son's life faded away in her arms. Heartbroken and enraged, Mansi cursed the gods for her suffering. "If I had wealth, my child would still be alive," she lamented. She vowed never to let poverty take anything from her again. Desperation led her to seek out the feared sorcerer, Old Kondo, a man known for granting immense riches, but always at an unspeakable price. Deep in the forest, Mansi found Old Kondo waiting for her. "You desire wealth?" he asked, his piercing eyes studying her. "Yes," Mansi whispered, her voice shaking. Old Kondo chuckled darkly. "Wealth comes with sacrifice. Are you willing to pay the price?" Without hesitation, Mansi nodded. "I will do whatever it takes." The sorcerer gave her one condition: your home must be open to all. You must give freely to anyone who asks. "But," he added, his voice grave, "anyone who enters your house must remove their shoes. For every barefoot step inside your home, their fortune and destiny will transfer to you." Mansi agreed without a second thought. From that moment, everything changed. Her once barren farmland flourished, her small shop grew into the largest marketplace in Zuberi, and she became the wealthiest woman in the region. People flocked to her for help, and Mansi never refused. She was known as the village's most generous woman, giving to the poor, paying school fees, and hosting grand feasts. But there was one rule she never allowed to be broken: no one, absolutely no one, could enter her house wearing shoes. At first, the villagers thought it was a harmless quirk. But over time, people began to notice something strange. Those who received help from Mansi often found themselves facing misfortunes soon after. Businesses failed, families lost their wealth, and once successful traders found themselves returning to Mansi, begging for aid, never realizing that each time they stepped into her home barefoot, they were giving away their good fortune to her. One woman, Nia, who owned a thriving tailoring shop, started to suspect something was wrong. Each time she visited Mansi for assistance, her business suffered more. When she spoke to others who had received help, she realized they all had the same fate: none of them ever recovered from their losses. Determined to uncover the truth, Nia devised a plan. She visited Mansi's home again, but this time, she deliberately kept her shoes on. As soon as Mansi saw Nia stepping inside with her shoes on, her face twisted in terror. "Get out," she shrieked, her calm and kind demeanor vanishing in an instant. The villagers, drawn by the commotion, watched in shock as Mansi's usual composure crumbled. "Why are you so afraid of shoes, Mansi? What are you hiding?" Nia demanded. Panic gripped Mansi's heart. She knew the spirits would not forgive this violation. That very night, her largest shop mysteriously burned down. The next day, her farm, once the most fertile in the village, withered overnight, while the neighboring fields remained lush. One by one, Mansi's businesses collapsed. The wealth she had stolen was being stripped away by the unseen forces she had bargained with. Desperate, Mansi returned to the forest, begging Old Kondo for help. But the sorcerer only shook his head. "You broke the rule. The spirits will take back what they gave. There is no escape." Mansi lost everything: her riches, her status, her home. The villagers, once grateful for her generosity, now avoided her. She became an outcast, shunned by those she had once deceived. Alone and penniless, she was taken in by an old widow who pitied her. "You still have your land," the widow reminded her. "True wealth comes from hard work, not stolen fortune." With no other choice, Mansi returned to her farm. Day by day, she toiled under the sun, slowly rebuilding her life the honest way. Though many in the village still distrusted her, she persisted. Over time, her farm flourished once again, not through magic, but through patience and labor. She learned that there were no shortcuts to true success. The destinies she had stolen had never been hers to keep. And so, humbled by her downfall, Mansi spent the rest of her days working the land, no longer a woman of untouchable wealth, but one who had finally found peace in honest labor. Mansi found herself shunned by most villagers. Even as her farm began to thrive, many refused to buy from her, fearing that misfortune still clung to her name. The widow who had taken her in was her only companion. "Time heals wounds," the widow assured her. "Prove to them that you have truly changed." Mansi took the words to heart and continued working diligently. Months later, Mansi's farm bore fruit, the finest in the region. Some villagers, though hesitant, began to buy from her. At first, only a few did, but soon, word spread that her produce was fresh and of great quality. Slowly, she started to gain customers again. She remained humble, refusing to return to her old ways. Mansi started visiting the village more often, greeting people with kindness. Though some still whispered about her past, she did not let their judgment deter her. She helped those in need, not with stolen wealth, but with hard-earned food from her farm. Some began to respect her perseverance. Over time, the villagers noticed that their luck had returned. Businesses that had struggled for years began to thrive again, and prosperity flowed through Zuberi once more. The suspicion surrounding Mansi began to fade, though many still regarded her with caution. She understood that trust was not something that could be bought, it had to be earned. One day, Nia, the woman who had exposed her secret, approached Mansi at the market. She studied Mansi's humble stall, filled with fresh produce from her farm. After a long silence, Nia spoke. "Perhaps you truly have changed," she said, her tone careful but less hostile than before. Mansi nodded. "I have learned my lesson. True wealth is not in gold or riches, but in honesty and hard work." Though Nia did not respond immediately, she picked up a basket of vegetables and handed Mansi a few coins. It was a small act, but it meant everything to Mansi. Mansi continued working tirelessly on her farm, and though she had made some progress in earning back the villagers' trust, she knew that full acceptance would take time. Many still avoided her, speaking in hushed tones whenever she passed by. Some even refused to buy from her, afraid that her misfortunes might be contagious. Despite this, she did not give up. She greeted everyone with kindness, helped where she could, and focused on improving her farm. She no longer longed for the wealth and power she once had, instead, she cherished the simple joys of planting, harvesting, and sharing food with the kind widow who had taken her in. One evening, as she sat outside her small hut, she watched the sunset and reflected on her journey. She had lost everything but had gained something far more valuable, wisdom. One day, a terrible drought hit the village, causing many crops to wither. The people of Zuberi began to worry that they would go hungry. Mansi, however, had been preparing for such times. She had stored food and water carefully, remembering the days when she had once struggled to survive. When villagers came to her, hesitant but desperate, she did not turn them away. She gave freely, not with the intention of taking their destinies, but because she understood their pain. At first, people hesitated, afraid of accepting help from her. But slowly, as they saw that no misfortune followed, they realized she was no longer the same woman she once was. The village chief took notice of her generosity and called a gathering. "Mansi has done wrong in the past," he declared, "but she has also done right by us now. It is time we judge her for who she is today, not who she once was." The words of the chief carried great weight, and soon, more people began to accept Mansi once again. While some still held on to the past, others saw the sincerity in her efforts. Over time, she became known not as the woman who stole destinies, but as the woman who worked to restore what she had lost. She was never as wealthy as before, but she no longer cared. She found peace in her simple life, in the friendship she slowly rebuilt, and in the love she had for the land she worked on. One day, Nia visited her again. "You have truly changed," she admitted, this time without hesitation. "Perhaps one day, everyone will see it too." Mansi smiled, knowing that even if they didn't, she would continue on her path, for she had finally found true wealth, not in gold, but in redemption. Years passed, and Mansi lived a quiet, peaceful life. The villagers no longer spoke of her with fear but with cautionary wisdom, using her story to teach their children that shortcuts to success always come with consequences. One evening, as Mansi and the old widow sat outside their hut, watching the stars, the widow placed a gentle hand on Mansi's shoulder. "You have come a long way, my child. Do you regret the path you took?" Mansi shook her head. "No," she said. "Because through my mistakes, I have learned the true meaning of fortune. It is not in riches, nor in power, but in the peace of knowing that I have earned my place in this world the right way." And so, Mansi's story became one that would be told for generations, a warning, a lesson, and above all, a tale of redemption. Thank you for joining us on this magical journey through the heart of the village. We hope this story has shown you the beauty and mystery that can be found in everyday life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this tale with your friends. Who knows what other secrets we will uncover in the next adventure?